Hey guys, welcome to Cult Film and Review, the podcast where you discuss the films you love, but no one else gets, and we see if they still hold up. Tonight, it's all flashbacks, sword fights, and rock and roll, because there can only be one. Because we're talking about Highlander, the director's cut. So let's just start the show.
Your Hollywood system stole our sex and co-opted our violence, so there's nothing left for our kinds of movies.
I did not hit her. It's not true.
Klopex? Klopex.
Klopex. Up yours, baby.
Me and Bubba, my little brother, listen to you every night.
Where in the hell are we?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Thanks for joining us this week in your car, in your bed, on the toilet, wherever you're at. We really appreciate it. Just do us a favor, head over to iTunes, leave us a review. We'll give you a shout out at the end of the episode. I believe we have one for tonight, which we'll do at the end of the episode.
Like you just said.
Yeah, you know what? I'll repeat. And then, you know what? If your friends are into films, tell them about us. Even if they're not into films, tell them about us. Just tell them. Walk up to them. Cult Film and Review. Listen to it. Download it. Get it. Tonight, we're talking about Highlander. It was directed by Russell. I'm going to screw up his last name here.
Mulcahy.
Thank you. There you go.
Dang.
Came out in 1986, had a budget of $19 million, only made about $13 million in the box office. It was filmed in the U.S. and in UK. Has a rating of R and currently sits at 70% on Rotten Tomato meters. If you don't know what this movie is about, it's about an immortal Scotsman who must confront the last of his immortal opponents, a murderous, brutal barbarian who lusts for the fabled prize. What is the prize? Is it like a Happy Meal toy? We don't know.
He would have been so disappointed if he actually got that prize.
Right?
Knowing his personality, he would have been like pissed.
No, I don't think he would have.
I think he would have.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay, we'll get to that.
This is Mike's pick. Mike, why'd you pick Highlander?
I picked Highlander because it was on another podcast. Probably did it a lot better justice than we're probably gonna do. But I really wanted to tackle it. I remembered it as a child. I fucking loved the series when I was a kid, and I thought it was about time. We did all those serious cult films, so. Time to break the mold with
February's the month of
with
fuck
a,
it
with a big budget like semi-canon film.
Fuck it, February.
Fuck it February.
Fucking February.
That's a new thing.
Exactly what it is.
T-shirts.
Who has not seen this film before?
What?
Same time!
These cousins! I had not seen this movie before.
I had not seen this movie before either, which I feel mildly embarrassed about.
Me too.
But I was explaining this to Mike. The reason why I hadn't seen it before was I caught a few episodes here and there of the TV show, and I thought it was boring, and I wasn't into it at all. This is when I was younger, and so I just avoided the film because I thought it'd be of the same caliber.
I'll tell you why I hadn't seen it. Because the cover of it for some reason, always made me think of what Kroll actually was.
Oh, really? I've always been disappointed by the cover art of this film, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
It didn't get the proper canon cover art.
It just has, like, the original cover art, I believe, for, like, the poster art was just Christopher Lambert staring, which is, about 90 minutes.
Pretty much all this film.
90 minutes of this movie, yeah.
Even the alternative Mortal Kombat poster is just Lambert staring from Highlander.
Yeah.
The Lambert stare. I like that.
How did he become the most famous one out of this movie is what I've just been baffling with.
He was like a big star in France before he did this film. Like this was like a big deal that they kind of got him, I think.
Really?
Yeah, like I think he was pretty well known. He was like a Gerard Depardieu.
Oh,
like
Depardieu.
just a Depardieu here in America, but over there, I mean, it's Depardieu.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and for canon, I'm sure they were even more jazzed about it.
Was Sean Connery not a big star at this time?
He was a big
He was
star.
a pretty big star. He'd
He's
already
huge.
been James Bond.
Yeah.
So was Christopher Lambert the biggest star?
No, not at all.
So here's the question, though. He had already been Bond. Was this during like his lull period?
Yeah,
Who?
86.
Huh?
It came out in 86, so yeah.
Yeah.
Has Sean Connery ever had a lull period?
True, he's telling the truth.
Zardoz.
That was in Sean Connery's drug days, I'm sure.
No, I don't think he wanted to do that film. I don't think he wanted to do Zardoz. I mean, I think after Zardoz he doesn't like talking about it as far as I know.
No.
But maybe we'll get to that one day.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Maybe one day we'll get to that.
I'm excited for the possibilities.
I think them getting Sean Connery was like obviously a huge deal. Like,
I think so.
Everybody else in this film is.
What about Clancy Brown?
Clancy Brown's a big deal.
I think he's a big deal now.
But he's more of a big deal character actor,
Yeah.
and he always has been.
Yeah, agreed.
I saw this movie when I was a child myself, and I actually liked it more than the television series because I, like you, I thought the television series was boring. But this movie as a kid, dude, so much better.
Yeah, I will say before we even go further in reviews, I wish I had seen this movie as a child.
Right? With like spark swords and decapitations.
Yeah.
And moonlit sex scenes. It's everything that you want as a 12-year-old.
Silhouette sex scenes. Silhouette everything in this movie.
Silhouette Reeboks.
Silhouette flashbacks.
So true.
So many flashbacks.
Silhouette khaki trench coat.
Oh, God.
I wish I did see this movie as a child, too. Because I think maybe there is a part of me that remembers the TV show and not being that interested.
Yeah.
Which kept me away.
Like, I think it was on, like, USA or TNT
It was.
or something like that.
Yeah, it was on one of those networks.
Like,
yeah.
it would have been on a network that you would have been like, oh, everything on that network sucks.
I saw it on whatever it was replayed on normal, non-cable TV.
Oh, yeah? You know what?
Like
Actually,
Channel 6.
The interesting thing about the TV series is I think it was
on UPN 45.
No. It wasn't American. It wasn't American. And actually, when it came to America, they had to like take out a bunch of nudity and stuff like that. There were sex scenes and all kinds of stuff in the first.
It was like the Game of Thrones at the time.
I love TV from other countries.
Yeah.
Well, they're just
no
more
filters.
They're liberal with certain things that we aren't.
Yeah.
For some
or
reason.
libertine.
Libertine.
With that being said, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about Highlander.
We're leaving off on Libertine.
Libertine.
All right.
Starring Johnny Depp.
Drink more Ovaltine.
Become libertine.
MacLeod, I was born 2,437 years ago. In that time, I've had 3 wives. The last was Shakiko, a Japanese princess. Her father, Masamune, a genius, made this for me in 593 BC. It is the only one of its kind, like his daughter. When Shakiko died, I was shattered. I would save you that pain. Please, let Heather go.
This movie opens up with a sweet-ass Spanish voiceover. by none other than Sean Connery with his fantastic Spanish accent.
His drunk Spanish accent.
That being said, technically he's Egyptian, guys.
Oh, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So an Egyptian accent.
He didn't know what the fuck he was.
He was
everything.
Yeah, he did. He was Sean Connery. He still sounded just like Sean Connery.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he was one of the immortals.
I wonder what he sounded like as a child. I'm really curious to know when he developed that sound.
I wonder if he had to work at it. Like it didn't come natural.
Yeah,
I don't think so. He's Scottish.
Yeah.
Did he always talk like an old man?
I think he always had that. I mean, he had that.
This is the same argument as when did Morgan Freeman start sounding like Morgan Freeman when he was like 18?
Yeah. That's a good question.
That'd be badass at 18 to sound like Morgan Freeman.
Pussy as
Sound like-
far as the eye can see.
Yeah, to sound like God at 18 would be
Yeah.
pretty badass. So it opens with that, and then we move on to some badass rock and roll from Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we're at the wrestling matches.
Yeah,
Straight
That
into
was weird to me that this movie opened on a wrestling match, but then it kind of made sense because it like harkens back to him being a warrior.
That's where he starts having the first flashback of 9,000 flashbacks.
Yeah, I'm almost like, why did you even go to that wrestling match? You look like you're having the least amount of fun out of everyone.
I love that scene because it just slow pans into this huge crowd where everybody's cheering, and there's just a guy there with a light on his
Yeah.
face, like
Not having fun.
mortician style light on his face, just staring hard and forward.
Dude, that shot though is like I feel like I hear like a helicopter noise.
It would have to be because they didn't have drones at this
No,
time.
no, I know how
right?
they did it. The guy
How?
who invented the Steadicam did like a wire system where the
Oh.
camera was actually flown on a wire around the stadium.
I thought it was one of those tiny little like
remote
80s heli.
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought a helicopter into a
You
stadium.
know, like the
Control.
little ones though.
A lot
the
of
ones
people
that
died.
You see in swamps. You know what I mean?
You guys remember like back in the day, if you ever went to a sports event, they had like the blimps that flew around the
Ooh,
arena.
yeah, right?
I thought it could have been one of
Could've been
those.
one of those.
not a bad
Big
option.
ass telephoto
They
on it.
probably considered doing that. And then the guy.
I don't know. It's canon. You
It's
know?
a pretty great shot.
It is.
It is a
Hey,
fantastic
can we
shot.
talk about this Canon thing? Is the Canon didn't like this wasn't like a Canon film, right? Did they just distribute it or something? Because or is this when Canon had like a shit ton of money?
I don't
Like
know.
that's what I'm trying to figure out because
This was funded not by Canon, from
Yeah.
what I understand.
No, not at
I
all.
think they just
so
distributed
they
it.
just happened to pick
Yeah.
up the rights to it.
Okay.
Well,
Good for them.
Because as I understand it, this film did not do well at the box office.
No, it made like half its budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is and oddly enough, the second one also they had a bigger budget and made half their budget.
Because as I had heard about it, that this film did very well on video,
yeah,
and that they were like, okay, well this constitutes another sequel, and
I think it
they
did fairly well overseas
they didn't
too.
need one.
Like internationally, I think it made decent money.
Oh yes,
hmm
you're right. That's what happened.
It does. Yeah, it does not need it. I mean, the ending
It's
doesn't
well,
need a sequel.
yeah. It's about as final as you get.
It's pretty final.
There can be only one, and,
And there
guess
is
what?
only
there
one.
was one.
That we knew of. Maybe there was another. I don't know. I haven't seen the second one.
No, because everyone's drawn to the final battle.
Right.
That's
Which-
immortal.
Okay, good, because I want to get back to the wrestling match. That's why I understood why he was
It was
at the
there.
wrestling match, was because he knew that there was a guy there. I took it as he wasn't interested in the wrestling match because he was too interested in hyping himself up for the next
Yeah, sensing
battle.
for the next
so
quickening.
they can sense each other's presence.
They can indeed.
He can sense a fucking deer's present when he was running on
Yeah,
the
you
beach.
can hear their, like heartbeats and shit.
He didn't really seem like he was hunting though.
He didn't because he's just so fucking emo because his wife died 6 billion fucking years ago. Get over it.
We'll get to
I don't
that.
know if that time
We'll get
lines
to
up.
that.
6 billion.
I don't know. Like it opens up with that, and then you have the sword fight in the car garage. And
Love that.
Mhm.
Love
Which
that
is-
scene.
is awesome, but it sets precedents for every other fight.
How many
And-
presidents?
So many.
Like Lincoln Jackson.
Precedence.
Yeah, that too. It does though.
Jack.
It's like every time there's a fight, there has to be some source of water.
That's true.
Like,
Is that so the energy
Why?
can transfer?
I don't know. It's just like think
I
about
don't think
it.
there was any water in the alley.
No, there wasn't.
When
there was
they-
a lot
wasn't?
of fire and explosions.
No,
Yeah.
doesn't the sprinkler system go off?
No, what? There in an alley? There's no sprinkler system in an alley.
No,
Yeah,
he's
no, they
you're
were in a
talking
parking
about you're
garage.
talking about Clancy's fight.
Yeah, I
I'm,
know.
not- I'm just talking
Hergen's.
about.
Okay,
He's
I'm
saying there's
sorry.
water in general, but I'm just saying I don't remember water in that scene.
Oh, okay,
probably-
yeah,
there's
I don't
probably a
remember
puddle.
that either.
There was a puddle
Maybe.
or two.
I don't think
Probably
you
a
need.
puddle.
They did make it a point though to put them in water frequently.
Yes.
You know what? Because water's hot.
Water's life.
That's sexy.
Yeah, it's
Water's
sexy.
sexy.
Everybody knows what. Get wet.
Maybe that was in Christopher Lambert's contract. Like, must be in water 50% of the time.
Yeah.
I love that initial fight. Going back to it, just for the amount of flips.
The
And
fucking
that-
old guy does?
Yeah.
and
And
it just keeps going. It holds as he's just flipping away for
There's
like a
yeah,
mile.
there's one scene where he literally flips away from the fight
Yeah.
and disappears.
does backflips,
And we
it
should-
does like 50 or 80.
We should note to the rest of the audience right now. We all only watch the director's cut,
yeah.
and that is only in the director's cut,
Yeah.
Really?
where it
flips.
keeps going.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because I guess
Why did the director feel like that helped drive his
I would
story?
imagine. I'm gonna guess this. This is what I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess that they had a dude that could do that many flips, and they were just like, "Man, we can't just like let that just go on the cutting room floor."
What's weird about it is it makes no sense. He does flips and seemingly covers a distance of, let's say, 50 yards.
Quite a bit.
And then the next scene, he's right on top of the guy, on Christopher Lambert, like several feet away from him. and Lambert wasn't doing flips along with him.
Well, you know
they
what?
were
Can
flipping together.
I will say something. Flips, you can't be moving as fast with flips as you
I
could
think
as
you
like
can
a full
cover-
sprint.
I feel like you can cover some ground with some
I
black
don't know.
backflips.
I don't think you.
You get good spring. I think so.
I don't think you're winning
Any
any
gymnast
races
out, any
against
gymnast out there
anyone.
can tell.
Dare
can let
I
us
say
know.
it? How many backflips are we giving this guy?
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe we should. I think that.
That was
I think we
actually
were
the
figure that
stunt
out.
coordinator, I believe, that played that character.
Oh,
That was the
really?
stunt coordinator for the movie. I
Yeah.
believe I read that.
When they're running on top of the cars, though, that was pretty badass too.
I was like, fucking up those nice cars. Shit.
Shit, that ain't
Those were
nothing.
cool cars.
Everything in that place got fucked up after he killed him.
Oh, I
he had
know.
to have his electrifying orgasm after he killed the guy. cut
That
off his
threw
head.
me off.
That's the
that
quickening,
threw me
bro.
off.
That's the
Yeah,
quickening.
the quickening. I feel like
picked
it's
it
an
up
orgasm.
eventually, but when I first saw it, I was like, "What the fuck is he doing?"
Oh, and all the cars are
Yeah,
exploding.
no. When I
around
saw
him.
that, I felt bad for Steve.
So what?
Who's Steve?
Steve is the insurance guy that was working that night by himself.
Oh.
Got all those calls. My car blew up.
Here's what caught me off guard.
Why was everybody on Allstate in that garage? I don't get it.
Here's what caught me off guard about the film is I didn't expect it to start off in the 80s. Like, for some reason, I thought it mostly took place in the past somewhere.
The cover art.
And so I was like, cool, all right, like this is modern day 1986. And then the way it did transition back to, when he was a Scotsman, and I thought that was actually done pretty well.
I actually want to give a lot of credit to all of those
the
scenes.
transitions.
All the transitions were fantastic.
Not just transitions, but also all of the scenes of him in Scotland.
Oh, totally.
Like they
Yeah.
were big and they were epic and
Yeah.
like something almost like a pre-Braveheart kind of.
Yeah.
Quite honestly,
Yeah.
like great cinematography. They captured the entire countryside.
I
Like,
do have
it's
a
beautiful.
complaint about that scene, though. I everything is great leading up to the point where Kurgan stabs him.
Mm-hmm.
It's Kurgan. That's Kurgan,
Yeah,
right?
that's the the
in
Kurgan.
in the fucking skeletal armor with like, like
Yeah.
thing. It's awesome armor, by the way. That looked great. But like, I thought that kill was so lame. He like ran up on him and just boom, done, stabbed. There was no battle.
I just like the thing I thought was like so weird about that scene, and I was joking about it, but it's like the whole time during that battle, there's like you see people like throwing swords and going at it, but then there's like a collection of a lot of people who are just sitting there screaming McLeod, McLeod,
Yeah, it
and
was
like
their
they're not even
plan.
fighting.
Because
Like, what the fuck?
they're not allowed to touch him because that's
No.
Kurgan.
The people on
right.
his side were screaming that.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
I guess it was
That's
supposed to be
their
their
clan,
There was
right?
their clan name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They
that's
were
like
the clan
that's like their
McLeod.
war cry, but it was just so they just
Yeah.
looked like a lot of people whose job was only to scream that while the other guys did the fighting.
No,
Yeah.
it's funny that you bring that up because oddly enough, even with the intro, which is not like it was not the original intro they wanted to do an NHL instead of
Oh,
wrestling.
okay.
But if you like watch the movie and you relate it to wrestling, it's very similar in storytelling of like what you brought up. That's how Kurgan gets his heat, bro.
What do you mean?
That's how Kurgan. That's the heat. He's getting the heat. He's being the bad guy. He's getting you to hate him.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see them fight right away because by the end you really want to see them fight because
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
the whole
thought
time-
a little bit more
the
would
whole
have been.
the whole time Kurgan's looking for him, right? And he fucks everybody else up in his life. And then you're just finally waiting for the good guy
I see.
to get his comeback.
Right, I got you.
You know?
It does relate to wrestling. I could totally see that.
And they do explain why he doesn't.
It's not going to make you
fight.
watch wrestling
No, it's
more, Cody.
storytelling. It's storytelling. Yeah, I can see it.
They do explain why he doesn't fight. He says that I felt the sickness and it overcame me and I couldn't
Oh.
like move. So
Oh, I should. I missed
From the
that.
quickening.
yeah.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
when you're around another immortal, apparently you just get sick to your stomach.
Well, I think. I mean, see, there's.
Well, maybe it's because he wasn't trained, so he didn't know how to
I
take
also
that
think.
feeling.
I also think it may. Yeah, it might have been that, but it also might have been like he hadn't died yet.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Like I don't know when your immortalness comes into effect. I know the series. I know the series deals with all these weird, like
Oh, would that
what ifs.
Would that explain why he doesn't get to the point to stop aging until after he dies? Then, 'Cause
What's
that's when-
Yes, that's when he died. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
so he ages his whole life until he dies the first time, and then he's immortal, stuck in that.
I imagine that's how it worked. It was like Interview with a Vampire or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it makes me wonder. I can't remember if there was an episode of Highlander where like one of the immortals was a kid or something.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean that him coming back to life, was also kind of jarring for me. Like
I didn't even catch it. Honestly.
like he just walks in the door and
he walks
it's like
into a
everybody
pub.
accepts that they must have already accepted
did
it
not
previously.
accept
They did
him
not
at
accept
all.
it at
No,
all.
but I
No.
mean, like they accepted it in the sense that like it seemed like they all knew about it already when you come into that scene.
Probably
it was
showed up
very,
in the
it
middle
was
of the
very
night.
jarring because the last scene is him dying like gray and shit, and then also he just strolls into a pub.
Yeah.
Like,
But
the
see, he
fuck
also should have
happened?
learned a very valuable lesson, which he didn't learn.
What's that?
Which Sean Connery is trying to teach him: don't trust the ladies,
Yeah,
that's
that was
true.
because that lady turned on him real quick.
Yeah, she sucked.
She was horrible.
I hated her.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was terrible. But then he met that real nice girl
Yep.
out in the middle of
yeah.
nowhere.
What's her name?
I don't
Heather.
know.
Heather. I loved Heather.
Mm.
I fell in love with Heather.
I had no problem with her. I thought
Yeah, I liked her.
I didn't think she was like she wasn't a knock me out of my seat actress
No,
like
no.
or character.
She was a knock
but
me
she
out of
was
my
a-
seat looker.
Yeah, she was. But she was just. I think she was like the perfect balance for him during those scenes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not okay. It's not hard to play off a brick wall.
it's true. Maybe it's harder. I don't know.
Like, Chris, I'll be honest. That if we can just get into one of my least favorite things about this movie is fucking Christopher Lambert. If I have to throw it out there,
Yeah.
I mean,
His acting is.
it's like how they surrounded him around like everybody with more charisma than him, and then he's supposed to be the guy that you like, and it's like I'm rooting for Kurgan the whole time.
It should
yeah,
be
he was
noted
kind of boring.
that I think, from what I heard, Christopher Lambert didn't speak like very good English.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of reading the scripts
Yeah, I think
and not knowing really what he was saying.
when they hired him, the production team didn't even have any clue that he spoke like no English. So he just had to do what little he could.
Which is
learn
funny
along the
because
way.
there's actually this theory because he has a Scottish accent. Like it dips in and out. His Scottish accent dips in and out, and then it turns into a definitely not French accent,
yeah.
but like something, right? And some people have, I guess, made the theory that when the cop is like, "Where are you from?" and he's like, "A lot of places," that like he's like that. This is some kind of combination of all the places he's been in his like whatever 400 years of life
Yeah.
that have made some weird.
That was
like,
a really good impression, by
Yeah.
the way. That was spot on.
That was
really
definitely
was.
spot on.
A lot of places.
I want to say,
Lots of
me and my
places.
brother used to do Christopher Lambert impressions all the time. His voice used to crack us up, especially in Mortal Kombat.
Enough.
Yeah.
I do want to go back to where we were just at real quick because this is one of like the scenes in the film that I felt the strongest about was the relationship that he developed with his wife. The advice that Sean Connery was giving him, like, don't get attached because they're going to die and you're going to have to leave them. It's going to stay with you forever, pretty much. And the fact that he chooses to stay with her, because I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought he was going to leave her, and follow his advice. But he stays with her, and they show that relationship kind of play out over like a montagey kind of scene, a couple scenes.
Once
Yeah.
to live.
With that Queen song, and I'm
forever.
not gonna lie, I got a little choked up when she was dying. I felt really sad about
I
that.
did too. It
Yeah.
was very powerful. It was
Yeah.
absolutely powerful.
And the thing she asked me, she's like, "Why did you stay with me? Like, you knew this was gonna happen to me, And basically, he was in love with her, and she died in his arms, which was, could sound corny, but like the way they build it up, like I'm like, damn, I feel sorry.
you got Queen, you got Freddie Mercury back.
Yeah,
in that whole
exactly.
scene
That's
up,
what I was
so,
going to say.
I mean,
That's true. That's true.
just power behind anything Freddie Mercury's.
And the poor girl died at the ripe old age of 35 with
That's
gray
what
hair.
I said.
That is we were sitting there like, I said, that is the best looking 80-year-old I have ever seen. They didn't even make him
I know. I was
they made him
like,
look 40.
I was like, how is this possible? Like Exorcist, the aging the aging techniques were fantastic.
But,
This one's like, just slap some gray hair.
But that's another thing that I have a gripe about is
I think I know where you're going. with this.
whoever did the makeup effects on this, and they had a budget. They had a budget, so you can't blame the budget on it. Should be slapped in the fucking face.
If
I wanna
it's William
track-
Butler, I'm gonna die.
No, it's not him.
Okay.
I want to track this person down though and slap them. Oh my god! Maybe it's the whole time we're watching it. Chris is like, "It's the fucking Blu-ray. This is why you don't watch movies from the '80s on Blu-ray."
Yeah,
because
You might be right.
It's true.
Nothing was blended on. Like
I think they were banking on the film factor and like the contrast
Well,
of all that.
think about it this
like-
way: they didn't have any other factors.
No, I know. Video was shit.
Yeah.
Like
They're
you
like,
know,
it's either this, the best we can get, which is 35 millimeter.
yeah.
Maybe IMAX. I don't know.
It looked
No,
like
I don't think that
35 looks
exists.
pretty
Not
good.
even yet.
No.
Okay.
it looked like
I'm
fucking
shocked.
Halloween
I
makeup.
I
that
was
you buy.
shocked by that for sure. I was like, God damn, especially when you pointed it out, and then like the wire work in here, like you could see all the wires.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but Kurgan's neck was just not blended whatsoever.
Halloween
Oh my
makeup.
god, it was like peeling off.
Yeah, and his fucking bald cap was peeling off. And it's like, here you go, you got this badass character, and I'm like so into him, and then I just like can't even focus because I'm looking at the fucking fried chicken on his neck.
Safety pin to his neck.
Yeah, safety pin to his neck. Because it looked so. Oh god, it was just so
I
bad.
think that's a good segue too. Let's talk about Clancy Brown
I
and
love Clancy Brown.
Oh,
and
Kurgan?
his-
Fantastic
the
actor.
Kurgan.
Kurgan is like Kurgan to me stole the show.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like watching this now, I just don't understand how like Christopher Lambert came out of this the shining turd. Like how he came out.
The
like,
shining turd.
like,
I mean,
I
I don't
really
know.
don't, dude. Because like,
Has he really-
especially when he's in the Kurgan's in the car with the sword lady,
Yeah.
the forensic, and,
Uh-huh.
and he's just driving and he keeps like covering his eyes and like going crazy because he can't die. So
Yeah.
what does it matter if he gets in a
Oh
car
my
wreck?
gosh.
And she's like screaming the whole time. One of the best scenes in the whole movie.
Oh, I'll definitely agree that he steals every scene he's in.
Every scene.
Every scene
the
he's
church
in,
scene is
I'm like, I can't stop looking at this
Oh.
dude's face because he's so interesting
The
looking.
that
like,
church scene was fucking.
yes.
Yeah.
That was really intense, and like the way he played it, and like he was making me feel uncomfortable. Let alone all the people that are in the
Yeah.
church with him. Like
If we're going to favorite scenes, that's mine right there.
I'd probably,
That's a damn good
I would
scene.
probably agree with
Yeah.
that too. It's scary. It's deep. It's acted beautifully.
Oh,
like
that-
it's a great fucking
When the
moment.
when the nuns come by, and he's like, ah.
yeah.
Oh my gosh! Like,
oh my
And he
God.
Yeah,
licks,
I
he licks
loved
the
it.
priest's hand and
Yeah.
stuff. It's so good.
yeah, he did so many creep out moments in that. You're just like,
But he's even good when he kills Sean Connery though. Like that whole thing
Oh,
is
that
good too.
scene,
That whole
yeah.
scene, dude, where the building's just falling down around them.
Cool
that
shit.
seems that scene was a little silly for me.
No.
Can I
that-
just say? I want to say this because I was saying this to Kyle when we were watching, and I was like, that's the Kurgan's fighting style, is that he doesn't necessarily attack you, but he attacks all your surroundings and destroys everything. Like, even at the Silver Cup Studios, he's like destroying the fucking sign. Like, we're going to destroy everything.
So true.
Everything comes down with me.
yeah.
Well, because he has that's what I think it's almost. I hope it was in there by choice, is what I'm hoping, because he has no fear of dying. So if it does fall on him or falls on another immortal, what does it matter?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it could
Because-
fall on him, and they could cut his head off.
But he's the strongest one.
Yeah, he's
just gonna
pretty strong. He's throwing people and he's lifting people up with swords and shit. I mean, I get it, but I can't imagine if a bunch of rocks fell on the Kurgan, he'd be like, I'll just, brush them off. Like,
Here's something that's never said too that I am just saying it happens
okay.
because I truly want to believe it. And this is like, so I figured Kurgan's kind of like the oldest one.
No.
No?
He's not nearly as old as Ramirez was.
Yeah, Ramirez was he,
Like
he dated back to
2,000
the,
something years
he was,
old.
Like, dated back to like
Hold
BC,
on.
I thought, right?
Yeah.
We got it right here. We got
Was
it right
he the
here.
oldest?
He is an Egyptian immortal born in 8. So he was born in
Who, Ramirez?
896 BC.
Right.
And then Kurgan.
So he's over 2,000, like, say 2,700 years old.
Yeah.
Kurgan was in the 10th century BC. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
10th century BC?
Yeah.
Oh, so he was maybe the oldest.
10th century
10th
versus 8?
century. That's
The 10th century BC started the first day of 1000 BC and ended the last
older.
day of 901 BC.
He's older.
He's older.
as fuck.
He's the
So
oldest one.
That's why I figured he was the strongest because
Yeah.
he had, in my mind, he had killed the most immortals. So that's what I thought the quickening was when they have the orgasm at the end. Is they're getting their power?
Yeah.
They are.
Knowledge?
They absolutely are. Yes.
So that's what I took it as, and that's why like everyone's like so afraid of him.
I love
and
the Kurgan's look, punk rock, dude.
It's so awesome.
It's fucking badass punk rock band. It's kind of bikery looking.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Even when he's like putting his fucking sword together in the hotel room and then like swinging it around, and the
That's
hooker
kinda-
walks in, Cherry.
I'm surprised that sword held up to anything with the way that it was put together.
Right? It's so weak.
It just slides together halfway up the blade, like
Just snaps in.
It's definitely not something that I would think is like a stable weapon.
No, I don't.
You don't
think
want
it,
snap-on
Why do you-
Lego.
you don't want snap-on
style.
blades.
Why do you want a sword that long? I mean, it's hard enough to swing.
Because
Not for him. He's fucking strong as fuck.
Yeah,
dude,
He's,
he's
a
like-
huge
having a hard
ass
time.
dude. Him next to Christopher Lambert, he would look like a huge ass dude.
I just love that actor in general. I've always loved that actor.
Fantastic,
And,
yep.
and yeah, even though I think he's mostly been a bit of a character actor his whole career, but he's fucking solid. He's
Dude, when it-
always solid.
when he steals the car and the old lady's in the car, and then like it comes around the corner and she's just on the hood.
Oh my god, I laughed so hard, dude.
It's just like
Fucking
he
great.
I
has-
just love how it's just driving down the street with the roof peeled up halfway like a fucking can.
I did have comedic moments, which was kind of weird. Like they were very like here and there, but like there were, like you pee your kilt. Like they make that whole joke. Like they did try
Yeah.
to interject some humor into this film.
Well, even with the cop when he was being interrogated,
Yeah.
like, and the old cop is like cracking jokes the whole
I
time.
love that scene because he just punches a bunch of cops and they're like, everybody just calm down,
Yeah.
all right? And it's just like,
And then he's like, "Am I being?"
what happened to the 80s?
What
You guys
world do we
fucking
live
punch
in?
a cop.
He's like, and he's like, "Am I being arrested?" And they're like, "No," and he just walks out.
Yeah, he just walks out after he punched the cop.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of like antique dealer, but then Cody and I talked about it, and it makes sense because I mean he lived through all these times.
Yeah.
He could easily collect all this stuff.
Yeah, that I imagine. You
That's
know what?
definitely a good
Here's another
cover
thing
for
too.
him.
I want to say that in the series that was a common job that a lot of immortals had.
Really? Well, yeah,
Was
okay.
because they got to collect all these things over the years, so they knew they were like, look, if I hold on to this sword for 400 years, I'm going to be able to sell this thing for $100,000.
Totally.
You know, like don't
that explains why he has like so much money too.
Yeah.
And plus, if you lived for so long, wouldn't you be collecting like little trophies here and there? I would.
I'd like to think
I would
so.
take like
Yeah.
little memories, little
Yeah,
trinkets.
absolutely. And then they only appreciate and value.
And pretty soon you get a circular couch.
Go, that couch is an orgy
I know.
couch.
That's an
That is a
orgy room.
Straight
It definitely
up orgy
is.
couch.
It's a bed couch. It's a bed couch for 5.
More than that, dude. That thing could fit like 25 people. It's huge.
Going back to the comedy element too, there is a whole comedy scene in this movie where he's wasted off his ass and he's having the duel.
Oh, right.
Oh,
after he
that
meets
scene
his
was
friend.
Yeah.
scene was really fucking funny.
That scene is actually really funny.
yeah.
He just keeps getting
He just
shot.
he keeps getting up, getting stabbed. Is like, all right, I'm just gonna leave now.
Then the guy shoots the assistant.
Yeah, he shoots the
I
assistant.
didn't understand that one though. Why did he shoot the
He
assistant?
was probably frustrated.
Yeah, he was annoyed.
Yeah,
So I'm killing somebody today.
yeah.
You got to do that. You got to take somebody out.
That was a really funny, well done scene.
I also like the scene where he goes underwater and he's like
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Fighting. He's like swinging.
yeah.
And then he talks about how he can breathe, which
Didn't make any sense. I'm like, oh, he has
Yeah.
gills now too,
Like, that
huh?
doesn't
Okay.
make
Sorry,
a lot
have you
of
never
sense.
seen Waterworld? It's possible.
Yeah, because he has gills. He has gills, Cody.
He's just drowning constantly, but he can't die. So
Yeah.
I guess it'd be happening
There-
if Wolverine was underwater.
I do remember an episode of the series where it's not like they're not related. His name is Duncan MacLeod, but they're not from the same MacLeod. Like it's fucking weird. They're not related in any way. Anyways, he gets trapped in a cage, and he just keeps kicking it over and over and over again. And then I want to say that somebody says like, what do you hope to do? He's like, I have all these years to kick this cage. It'll eventually. He's like, you can just keep dying, and you'll come back to life.
Right.
Like you can die of starvation and then come back to life apparently, or some
And
bullshit.
be not hungry
I guess so. That whole series
with a
had
full
to,
stomach.
yeah,
me just say-
come back with a fucking Thanksgiving dinner in your belly.
this movie, with regard to its sequels, it built such a weird, unexplained mythos.
Right.
All the other series were doomed afterward to try to explain all of
Right.
this shit.
Right.
Well, it's because I wasn't. I don't feel like it was. It wasn't designed from the get go to create a mythos. I feel like it was like this is a cool idea, a cool story, and they filmed it and made it in such a way that it's just this is what it is. And then people are like, well, everybody's got to have sequels and franchises and all this bullshit. So that just gets so fucked up trying to add logic to something that was clearly already defined.
Yeah, I feel like it should work better as a television series. Like, because you
It
can.
lasted like
it
7
definitely-
seasons. or
Yeah, I think it
something.
worked.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean,
I mean,
I don't know,
syndicated.
I
I,
I don't remember.
But
I don't remember ever seeing an episode that I thought, oh, I should keep watching this.
It wasn't for your age group, probably. It was probably for a little bit older, I would imagine.
I was 15 when that came out. That's the reason why I thought it was a show. I bet you if I watched the series now, I'd be like, this is stupid.
I just remember
no, I
being
know,
so
but at
slow.
the time,
yeah. I think it was definitely for 15-year-olds.
All right, well, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Highlander, maybe the series, because that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah, right.
Nuns. No sense of humor.
Ramirez's blade did not cut deeply enough. You was right about you a slime.
Ramirez was an effete snob. He died on his knees. I took his head and raped his woman before his blood was even cold.
All right, guys, we're back. We're talking about Highlander. Want to get into some of the more into the story aspects and talk more about
the technical stuff.
We're talking about Highlander.
He's from the Highlands.
He's from the Highlands.
Yeah, he's
no,
from
what do you
the
guys think makes
not
this?
the lowlands.
What do you guys think makes this movie a cult film?
There can be only one.
I think because it's just such a weird...
Is it just that line?
Maybe. I think it's just because it's such a weird combination of fantasy, sci-fi, and like swordplay, and like
And
it's
silhouetted
such a
tits.
weird, and silhouetted breasts. But you can find that in a lot of '80s action films. But I think it is a lot of those combinations that just kind of made it. And it wasn't a popular film when it came out, but it became popular
Yeah, I think it's
elsewhere.
Probably, I
But
think
it spawned an entire franchise.
it's
Yeah.
probably an underdog movie.
I think they mixed modern action with fantasy and like the mix of the 80s with fantasy element and like the past. I think it just did have it like an offbeat feel to it, but like was awesome because the action, like they're decapitating people and it's like the way they shoot it is actually pretty cool. Like,
Yeah. And speaking from just like my experience growing up and talking to other friends that are into films and knowing a lot of people who are like way into like the Highlander stuff, even like as a kid, I always remember anybody that was telling me that I needed to see this movie was just so impassioned by the fact that I needed to see the movie. Like I've never met somebody who was like, oh yeah, I guess you can check it out. It's always been, oh no, you have to watch this fucking movie. It's amazing. And that's like a sign of a great cult film.
It's weird. It does have like a Star Trek-esque kind of following in a way. Like,
Yeah, a little bit.
there's like Highlander nerds who are like really into this like
Sword and sorcery world.
no, like really into like this guy lived then and then he lived here and then they and like know all the fucking backstories of every character, know every which one, and there are people who are really into it.
I agree.
So I think that's kind of what makes it. Can you guys not have your own fucking conversation during the goddamn show,
What are you
please?
guys doing over there?
sorry.
That's kind of what I think makes it a cult film. Who had the coolest sword?
Oh.
Who had the coolest sword?
Wasn't there like really only two?
Hell no.
No, the McLeod Claymore is pretty sick. Like it's the big crossbar
I didn't like
sword
that.
with the McLeod name on it.
I didn't
thought
like
that was
that.
a
I'm
right
cool
there with you.
weapon.
I didn't like that. I thought that was
was
just it was too much. It was too much. It didn't look like a weapon that I could wield. It was something that I like used at ceremonies. I preferred the weapon he got from Sean Connery, which was
katana?
the katana that was folded 200 times or whatever the fuck. Like I thought that thing was awesome, and it had like a really weird ornate fucking handle on it and
It's
shit.
a dragon handle. They sell those like they used to sell those in the knife shop.
Oh, really?
In the mall. Like there
Oh,
was always
yeah!
at least one Highlander sword.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
I used to love the knife shop. I used to go stare at the samurai swords.
Yeah. No one ever bought anything.
No, I don't think I ever saw a purchase happen. In
I've
those
always
stores.
seen like no, because it's like the nice store's there and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then another one just pops up in its place.
I just secretly remember almost buying something from the knife store, and the guy showed it to me, and I looked at it, and then I asked what the price was, and it was something ridiculous for a very small knife, and I'm like, I'll just put that down and leave.
That's
now.
all everybody ever did.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's so cool. How much is it? Oh, that's fucking
I'm
stupid.
surprised that tiny knife is $200.
I want to say one
$80
thing
knife,
about one of the reasons why I do like the McLeod Claymore is that it is like kind of like it is not ceremonial, but like a symbolic weapon. Like that scene where when his wife finally passes away after 35 years, and he just leaves the sword there. The fact that it has his name on it, it was kind of like the symbolic moment of kind of like, not only is he leaving his life behind, but he's leaving his whole identity behind.
Yeah, it
Like
burns the
he's
whole thing
not
down, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, it's like it's over, and he leaves that, and that's the last vision you see is like that sword with his name on it being left there.
And then 15 minutes later, a peasant came along and
just took it.
pawned that sword for some bread.
The
Pretty
Kurgan was
petty.
just like, I could sell this.
I never actually, I don't really remember what any of the swords look like, but I do remember Sean Connery's because it coordinated with his outfit.
No, it didn't. It didn't coordinate
It was the
at all.
same sword.
It was a
Same sword.
it was a
Wasn't
Japanese
it like
samurai. And
wasn't
he was
like
dressed
a
like
red, like a reddish pink color too?
No, it was a
No,
white.
it's white.
It was the
It's a
same
white
sword
handle.
the Highlander
I
was
think you're
using.
thinking of the backflip dude sword.
Yeah, that guy had a
I
cool
remember.
sword
I thought
too,
I
a
remember
rapier.
Connery having a pink sword. Maybe it was just the reflection of his pink outfit.
Probably.
Probably that. It was probably that. So we're watching the movie, right? And it's the scene where McLeod finally gets one up on Sean Connery and he throws his sword off the side of a cliff.
Oh.
And Chris he leans over to me and goes, "Do you think they were really out on that cliff?" I'm like, Sean Connery's ass was not out on a fucking mountain cliff.
Like
Sword
a rock
fighting.
balancing on a smaller
Yeah.
rock.
This is so funny because this is like the same discussion that we had on Kroll that I brought up. There's like the scene where he's scaling the peaks, and
Right,
it's like I'm like looking at it like, if he slips, does he die? Is that how this was shot? Was he's just out there on the side of a mountain?
I do want to know how they got the sword back. Like
Yeah, because he
you
lands
see
in the
Sean
ocean.
Connery's watching it like
Maybe he just jumps.
Like he's really watching
he just
it like
jumps after it.
I can imagine
I'll be
him
fine.
watching the sword fall through the air, and then him just saying to like McLeod, just like, "You better hope that lands somewhere in that. Oh, that better not land in the that better not land in the water." Like I imagine that he was so angry that he like launched it over a cliff.
I want to since we kind of brought up the one-upping Sean Connery and the whole training montage. There were some scenes in it that I felt, I don't know, a little uncomfortable or weird. Does anybody else feel that? Like
there was a little too man-lovish?
There was a strange bond between the two of them that I felt ran deeper than the immortal. I don't know. There was one scene where they're like, I don't know if they were fighting or whatever in the woods, and McLeod gets thrown down, and Sean Connery like goes to like help him up, and it looks like they're going in for a hug and stuff, and it's like it just looked like they're
Like spooning.
they're about to spoon and embrace on this hillside or something.
I do think. I mean, I agree. There are moments where, especially when McLeod does beat Ramirez for the first time, there is this weird moment where I guess Ramirez thinks like, "Is he gonna kill me?" And I was like, "Are they gonna fuck?" But I imagine that they were trying to make the connection that this was McLeod had lost his entire family.
Mm-hmm.
They'd cast him away, and I guess this was the first. This guy was calling him brother. I mean, he's basically inducted into a new clan, which is this clan of immortals, and then this becomes his new family, so to speak.
Well, as he goes through time.
That's a clan I want to join. The one that's just out to fucking kill you.
Yeah, all the time. You never know when. You always got to watch your back.
Yeah,
that
no
seemed
shit.
to really only be like the Kurgan. And,
Not true,
And that other guy that does backflips.
No, I think they just. I don't think they're actively out seeking each other out because
Some are.
Some are.
Yeah, the Kurgan.
No, others are.
They basically have to fight to the end.
Oh.
And
Well, it seemed like there's some of them that had kind of like a camaraderie.
there is
Yeah, no,
actually
there is.
one series episode of this. I hate to go back to the series, but they have to explain all this bullshit, right? So there's one episode where there is a guy that was like a monk and he lived on Holy Land, and like his whole thing was, I don't want to play this game. Like I have no interest in killing my
Right.
fellow immortals. And it's like, well, what are you going to do? I'm going to wait here, and I'm going to see.
He's just going to wait it out. And that's his
Right,
tactic.
but as you remember,
Not
you can't
defend himself.
You can't fight on Holy Land.
Yeah.
So that's why he was a monk. Was just like, I'm safe here. I basically can just wait this whole fucking thing out.
Damn.
But
Why
people,
didn't everybody do
a
that?
lot of them called him a coward for the same reason. Like, you're a coward. You're just sitting there, fucking not doing it.
Well, that's enough about the show.
Anyways, yeah, we're done with the series. I would like to get into the main scene of the director's edition.
Oh yeah.
The additional 2 minutes.
Scene, right? So in the theatrical version, he has that assistant. Well, in both versions. He has the assistant, and she's the only one that really knows he's an immortal, and she understands all this stuff. And in this director's cut, they actually do explain it.
Yeah.
So in the original version, it's kind of it never gets explained, and
Just
you're kind of
some
left
woman.
wondering who is this woman? Why does she know these things? Why do they have this bond?
You get the idea that there's a bond. You understand that maybe she's his lifelong assistant.
Because
but
part of me initially thought like, oh, is she immortal too or something? Like, why are they friends? and know
Ladies
each-
can't be immortal, Kyle.
Oh
You
God,
can't. You're right.
Is that true?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
They don't show
keep
one in the
going.
movie. I'm just going to say that. They don't show an immortal
But they
lady
do
throughout the movie.
explain, and they show it, and it's because the girl was what I assume was a little Jewish girl.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Because why is she running away from
No,
Nazis?
didn't she have a British accent?
She did have a British accent. Doesn't mean she wasn't Jewish.
I don't know. I think she might. I don't know.
Yeah, that will makes
I
the
think
it
she's
makes the
probably
most sense for her.
It makes the
to
most
be-
sense in the context
be
of the
in a-
history.
yeah.
They're being chased by a Nazi captain, whatever the fuck
Well,
he was.
they're in Nazi occupied something.
Right. And this girl's running away. Obviously, this captain is chasing this little girl for whatever reason, and then comes across McLeod, and then McLeod basically takes bullets for her and kills this Nazi captain.
Yeah.
And then this becomes his lifelong companion. The creepy thing about it is you get a real sense they fucked.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one that thought this.
No, he raises her like his daughter, essentially.
That's how I got the sense that he did not, because he was still heartbroken about his wife. So from what I get from this,
kissed her.
Yeah, there were some weird moments
Weird
between.
kissing.
but what I get from this movie is up until the forensic lady, McLeod has not loved or tried to love.
No.
Because lust
and love are different.
Wait. Now you're right. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, up until this
but
lady.
I really don't think that happened.
But I mean, there's an obvious fondness there, but they do kiss.
But no, that's why he says to her, like, when he's walking away, he's like, you've always been a romantic, because it's like you've always been romantic towards me, but I've never been accepting of it, is how I took it.
I took it as, I mean, they probably fucked, but he probably was like, look, I am an immortal. And, I can't, he was probably pulling the whole Ramirez,
It's a good line, dude. I'm gonna start using that. I'm gonna start using that at the bar. Listen, we can't. Girl, I'd love to be with you, but if we were, you die. I'd live forever.
I can't do it.
I can't do that to myself.
Yeah, we can bang it out real quick.
I'm just not ready for a relationship this year, or really the next 100. Like
This century.
But it's a weird scene. But it is the thing that many people say really kind of ties the film together, that if you watch the theatrical, a lot of this shit doesn't make any fucking sense.
And granted, I've never seen the theatrical version, but seeing this version with that scene in there, I did appreciate that backstory, because it did satisfy some of my curiosity. I'm like, why the fuck is she so special? And
There's
it
a
was
few
like,
others too.
and it made it more cool. It wasn't just like some woman that he just randomly met was like, you're cool, I'm going to tell you everything. It was somebody that he saved in, she's been his companion. I liked that. I thought that was cool. Although it did have a slight creepy element to it, but that's okay.
There's also a few other ones like the battle scenes we were talking about that were intercut with the wrestling scenes.
Yes.
That was added. There's a few other. There's just a lot more backstory. So there's
a lot of connecting the dots.
Yeah.
And then a guy doing more backflips than normal.
Because let's be honest, even the director's cut, 100% more backflips.
The backflipping edition.
Even the director's cut does not really give. I mean, it gives enough backstory to figure it out, but it is pretty. It's a slow reveal, and even then, you don't really get everything. You don't get like we said, we don't get the whole mythos of this.
I appreciated those little extra bits.
If they weren't there, imagine it. I mean, I gotta.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see the other version, but I did read up on what they were, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad that was in there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the technical stuff because I thought that was a shining star. Number one, the cinematography is
It's great.
it's great. The lighting is so good. That's why I think they used so much water in this movie was because a lot of the lighting effects and like making the city look a little bit brighter than it because it was always like one hard ass light way down a fucking alley.
Yeah.
You really
Coming
get
through
to
a door
see,
window.
You really get to see the light cascade off of every crevice
Yep.
of Christopher Lambert's brow.
Oh,
Like it's just
yes, you're so right.
like he really does look Cro-Magnon in a certain light.
What were with those bangs?
What bangs?
The split bangs.
The split bangs.
the split bangs, yeah.
They were terrible. That and like if I had to get into costuming, everybody else had a great costume but him.
Yeah, no, his quote unquote street clothes were.
Yeah, just a
There-
fucking
there was-
jeans, white tennies, and a fucking suede jacket.
Trying to blend in.
For being alive for 3,000 years, he hasn't quite figured out that blending in thing, has he?
No, it was. I'm gonna look like someone's fucking dad from the Midwest.
Yeah,
In the middle of New York.
pretty much. I loved it. Actually, the director comes from the music video world, so he shot a couple videos. Total Eclipse of the Heart, that weird ass music video.
He
He
shot
shot that.
so weird.
He did. I think he did a Queen video, a couple other things, but you can tell like he was doing Ronin shots before Ronin happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
that steady, like basically what's the new Steadicam? He was then. It was awesome. Like I actually felt like it made this film feel so much bigger.
He used it a lot with Kurgan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He used it a
totally.
lot in Kurgan scenes.
I thought the effects were like definitely like applaudable, like because the explosions and stuff
Yeah.
all looked really good.
Not
the
the
car
makeup
wrecks,
effects.
all
Not the
car
makeup, but
wrecks.
the visual effects.
Yeah, not the makeup effects. The visual.
I will
effects.
say though the ending too. We're talking about the final quickening,
Yeah.
which they would end up using those same effects in Gremlins 2: The New Batch
those I'm a little
with the electric gremlin.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that was. I
same
was
one.
kind of confused by that one too because it was like, why are they demons? He's like,
I didn't understand that either.
Yeah.
I didn't get why they
They're
were
just
demons.
trying to throw some animation shit in here or something.
They
like-
definitely, yeah. I guess they decided this would be cool.
But also a cool thing.
Could
I
they
read,
be all the souls of all the people they've killed leaving him, so now he's no longer immortal?
I mean, I guess.
I don't know.
I guess they're like attacking
No, but he's
him
still.
and shit.
But no. The prize is he can live forever if he wants to, but if he chooses to die, and die, he can. That's the prize isn't
You can choose to
mortality. He can choose to die.
No, I took it as that the prize was for a split second he got to see the visage of God. Like he says it while he's being
And
in
God
that
look-
thing. He says,
God looks like demons.
no, but I mean maybe I have no idea. But he does say he says I see it all or I know it all or
Well,
something
because
like
yeah,
that.
you get because that's part of the prize too. Is you get like all the knowledge.
You get all the knowledge, and he talks about on that weird car ride, his cross country trip to Scotland. He talks about how he's like, I can use this power to communicate what one scientist is trying to say to another scientist, and I can make the world a better place, and finally I can have kids too.
Yeah.
And this all becomes relevant in part 2,
Oh, okay.
which is unfortunate.
Oh, damn. Well, I guess I read this. I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but they hooked up some kind of shit to the swords, like to like car batteries, so that when they hit, like
that's
it actually
awesome.
sparked.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
That's awesome.
I was like, that's fucking sweet.
A lot of those
cool practical effects.
A lot of the set pieces were set up to spark too, because like you would notice like I think that's also why Kurgan would knock so much shit over.
Yeah.
Was to like hit like they would hit, especially in the studio battle, they would hit like one of the I don't want to say stanchions, but one of the cross beams
yeah.
that was holding it up, and you'd see the spark come out of the back of it.
Damn.
And that's a cool scene too, because the Silver Cup Studios. I mean, like when in New York, Silver Cup is a pretty recognized.
Yeah.
That's a pretty recognized sign.
It's a
You can
landmark.
see it from like this, like when you're taking the train into like Manhattan and from like Queens. I know that because that's where I used to take it. I used to see Silver Cup.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's not like a Hollywood sign, but they kind of did get the same effect from it a little bit.
Yeah.
To have that battle up on that scene, I thought that was kind of cool.
I wonder if that was recreated in a studio and not shot
I
on
can't
that
imagine-
actual
well, I mean-
It looked
location.
like it was.
Yeah.
It looked like it was.
I wonder if it was recreated
staged.
in Silver Cup Studio.
That's yeah,
Ooh,
but
maybe.
that silhouette sword fight at the end too is pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole ending, the ending of this movie is fucking phenomenal.
It's really good.
That sword fight goes on for a long time, and it's a good sword fight. It's not like some bullshit sword fight where it's like you could tell the two guys don't really know what the fuck they're doing.
Right.
Like it's kind of like a Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader kind of thing.
And I'm sure they had stunt guys and like acrobats that they're doing that shit. Like, I don't know if Clancy Brown's swinging around that well. He's a big dude.
He's a big fucking dude in this movie, dude.
But
it looked like
that was awesome, dude. I didn't expect it. Like, honestly, like this film took a lot of turns and like showed me a lot more than I thought I was going to get from Highlander.
Oh, well, that sounds like you're ready for a review. With that being said, what are we going to rate this Mammer Jammer? Mike?
We already talked about it. Backflips, right?
I think it has to be backflips.
What do you mean? How are you going to do it?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's start with Kyle. Kyle, how many backflips are you going to give Highlander tonight?
I'm going to give Highlander probably 3 backflips. As we talked about in the show, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like the movie did pretty well, and it was entertaining. There is a huge thing that I disliked about the film, which was it was the flashbacks, and I didn't dislike the flashbacks for what they were, but I disliked the way that they seemingly ran. The cut back to him was random and a little jarring, because it would just a flashback would just happen at the drop of a hat. All of a sudden you're in, 15th century Scotland, and then all of a sudden somebody says one line, and all of a sudden you're back in New York City. And I get that they're trying to make correlations to his past, to his present, and stuff like that, but I felt it was a little jarring. Other than that, soundtrack fucking on point. I'm sorry, Queen. Yeah, you win. You won for that one. I want to give this movie another watch just because I feel like maybe I didn't appreciate it fully for what it was the first time through. So I'm going to give it 3 for now, pending a further viewing of it. So
I'll go next. I'm going to give it, first off, I got to piggyback off of you for a little bit here. We all know that I give movies ratings, because if they have a theme song.
Extra points.
They have a theme song. This one has fucking 2. This one has 2. The opening theme and Who Wants to Live Forever, which is like one of the most touching fucking scenes as we talked about in the movie, and totally fits perfectly. So for that, I'm going to give it 3.5. I'm going to give it 3.5. The other star and a half comes from the technical aspect of the movie, the way it's shot, the way I actually enjoyed the transitions of how you're looking at a fucking fish tank, and the next thing you know, you're in a goddamn pond in the fucking Scotland. Like the transitions were very, very cool. Lighting's great. Then the other, I would say that's about a half. That's about the half. That's where you get the half. The other star is because of Clancy Brown and because of Kurgan. That performance, I could watch this movie over and over again just because I have so much fun watching that character be a fucking bad guy. And to me, he's a really fun bad guy. He's like, no dude I would ever want to meet in a dark fucking alley. But it's fun to watch because you're like, this motherfucker's crazy. And like, it's like he's rightfully crazy because he can't die. So he's just going to lose his shit. It's fun. I don't know. So 3.5 for me. Watch it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's fun. It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie.
Fun.
So 3.5 backflips for me. Let's go to Chris.
I didn't know what I was getting into with Highlander at first. Obviously, I stated that I had a totally different impression of what the film was just based on artwork and all that. So I went into it, and after watching Krull, I thought maybe this would be another Krull, so I wasn't too excited about it. But yeah, once we got into it, I was surprised quite often in the film at how many scenes I thought were cool or awesome or touching or well shot or awesome locations or great effects. And, like it just seemed to have a little bit of everything. And the pacing was pretty good. I mean, there's a couple moments where it slows down, but overall, like I was interested because of the flashbacks. And they did them creatively. Clancy Brown, fucking awesome, dude. Like every time I see that guy, like I forget about him, and then when he shows up, I'm like, yes, him. and him playing that character really sold a big part of the movie for me. Christopher Lambert did all right. I'm not going to say he did horrible, but it's his look, I think, that they were going for. I mean, I would definitely recommend this to somebody. It just has so much fun action mixed with fantasy, mixed with comedy, and even some drama. So Highlander, I'm going to give it a 4. And the reason I'm going to give it a 4 is because I feel like our conversation was very we talked a lot about what we thought about the movie, what we thought it meant, like where it went, where it was going, like these certain scenes that really like said something or meant something or were exciting. And for that, it has to be a good movie to some degree. The only thing I'll say negative about it is the Blu-ray. You can definitely see a lot of the wires and the bad makeup job, but that's about all the terrible things I could say.
Mike?
I am going to give this 4 backflips. For a lot of the same reasons you guys said, obviously, like Kurgan, can't say anything really bad about him. He's phenomenal. Phenomenal villain. And, as the Die Hard theory goes, like your hero is only as good as his villain. And I think they did a really good job with this one. The only reason I would probably dock it, things I'm docking it for, the mythos does bother me that not a lot of things are explained, and the fact that we had to watch the director's cut to get a little bit better of a backstory on that in 2 hours is this thing? Like it still left me wanting, like, well, how do you explain that he's breathing underwater? Well, how do you explain this, that, and the other thing? Like, well, how did this whole immortal thing? Where do these guys come from? Kind of thing. Like a lot of that stuff doesn't get explained. I understand that you don't always have to explain stuff like that, but with so many rules guiding, like, why can't they fight on Holy Land? Like, that's a rule we'll all never break, Why? Could he have done it? Like, why does a Kurgan give a shit about rules? Like, again, I watched the series, so they explain all this shit, and there's so much of that in the later movies and the later series, and even an animated series, for fucking sake, that they try to explain all this shit that they didn't explain in the first one, and that to me is a glaring negative on this film. But all the positives make up so much more for that. The fighting scenes are sick. Like, this movie is metal as fuck. Especially that tower battle with him and Ramirez. Yeah. Just lightning everywhere, fucking rocks falling everywhere. Yeah. The end of it looks like the cover of some relatively mediocre metal band that just had a really good artist. Some dude just fucking lancing.
That's like 80s art.
Lancing Sean Connery through the chest, and then throwing his dead body off a thing. So yeah, four backflips from me.
All right, guys, that's our show for this week. We really appreciate you listening. Before we go, we did have a review. We said we were going to give a shout out.
We did.
So I'd like to do that real quick. This one's from the Den Archive, a longtime listener. We really appreciate this review. It says, love the show. Great sound production as always. Fun to listen to. Look at that, Kyle.
Thank you.
You have great sound production.
I know.
I love watching and talking about movies and cult film. So getting to hear these dudes cover some of the films that you love, or even suggestions for films you haven't seen yet, is so much fun. We appreciate that. We try to have fun. I work from home and miss goofing off with friends or coworkers, so I enjoy every Thursday morning just a little bit more because of this podcast. The best part is over time you get to know which podcaster you will agree with on some of your favorite films that no one else gets. Or you laugh out loud with them, and you realize that funny-shaped Cody, Chris, Kyle, and Mike hole in your heart gets filled.
I love it.
And you are a complete person, if only for an hour or so once a week. Let these dudes fill your hole every week. You won't be sorry.
Can we put that?
Let these dudes fill your hole.
Can we put that up on our Facebook quotes, like a tag, like a quote? Let these dudes fill your holes every week. The Den Archive.
Yeah, right. Filling your holes since May 2016.
You won't be sorry, or will ya? Give it a listen, and you'll find out. Thank you, Den Archive. We really appreciate that. That means a lot to us.
Oh, and if you want, she sells some Some
arts work.
Arts
Yeah.
works, right?
Yeah, she
Some works
does.
of art.
She's
She
an art,
does.
she's an art dealer of sort.
Oh, what's the Chris? Do you know it off the top of your head?
But she does video and chill zine, which is like a coloring book, and she also has a sweet ass Burbs poster that she's putting out too. You can go visit her at the Den Archive on Instagram to find out more information.
Or video and chill zine
Yeah,
on Instagram also.
yeah. If you just search it,
You can find it on our Instagram. We posted
we
it
do.
on our Instagram, so you can go to our Instagram. You can find it, link it through there.
Because we like her shit.
Yep, and and you can get it there. All right, guys. You can follow us on social media at cultfilm_review on Instagram and Twitter. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can follow Kyle.
You can follow me on Instagram at cultfilm_Kyle.
You can follow Chris.
Cultfilm_Chris on Instagram.
And you can follow
It's
Mike.
giving me more work to do.
You can follow me at Mike Salustio on Twitter.
Everybody sounded so unexcited.
I know, it's
after
my
this.
favorite
We're
thing
just
now.
too thrown off by it.
It's my favorite thing now. It's
It's
like,
like,
how can
my
I change?
turn.
How can I change it up to piss them off? It's my new favorite
You don't
thing.
need to change anything up. It
Throwing
just does it
people off.
every time.
And you can follow me at VHS Collect on Instagram, guys. That's the show for this week. So just remember, if you're gonna join a cult, make sure they watch good movies. See you next week.